Welcome back. So hopefully you were able to get logged on and start Python 2. So we're going to continue now. We've looked at the print statement, and now we're going to look at some of the errors that occur. So if we take a look, we have to look very carefully. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this into Notepad, because sometimes we can't really see the error right away. We have to use larger fonts. So let's go ahead and copy both these statements here into Notepad. Okay, if your fonts are too small, if you see something like this, I'll show you how you can change your fonts. Okay, so if your fonts are too small and you see something like that, just simply highlight the text, go to Format, click on Font, and make the font whatever size you're comfortable with. You can see a preview right there. So I'm going to look at this here, and I can see here there's a mismatch of quotes. Here we have the double quotes, and here we have the single quotes. So the first thing I'm going to do is correct that. And here we have no quotation marks at all. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this right into our text editor. So if you're using hotkeys, you do Control-C, or otherwise you can just simply right-click. But a lot of you will find that it is a little bit less taxing on your hands and fingers if you use the hotkey. So I'm going to do Control-C. I'm going to come back to the Python editor. The Python editor is this place where you type. And I'm going to paste it in, and if I'm not mistaken, let's go back to the instructions. It says fix the two statements so you don't get errors. So if I come down here, okay, I see that it what we're supposed to do. So I click, and it prints it correctly, and I can go to the next step. Okay, so now we're looking at variables, okay, and I'm just going to practice what they gave me. That's not going to really enable the next button, but it will give me a chance to practice. So the instructions are down here, but even before you do that, copy and paste that right into your text editor, or maybe even type that out and run it. Well, there you go. That's all fine and dandy, but we didn't really get any results here. Okay, so let's go down and see what we can do. Okay, so we've entered two variables, greeting message, okay, and we have a number stored to current exercise. Well, let's go ahead and print these things out just to convince ourselves that these are in fact variables are remembered. So let's print out greeting underscore message. Okay, notice there are no quotation marks. You do not need quotation marks when you are using a variable. You only need it when it's just plain text. So let's click run. And there it is. Welcome to Codecademy. So what exactly happened here? This data here, this string, was stored to this variable, and now you're printing out the variable. Let's do the same thing again with current exercise, but this time I'm going to do Control-C. I'm going to paste that in here. And now I'm going to run it, and I see the number 5. So what occurred here? The number 5 was stored into the variable. Remember, a variable is like a box. It holds things. And what is it holding? It's holding the number 5. Now you're saying print out the box. Well, what's in that box? The number 5, and that's the result. That's what you see in the result window. So I think we can do the assignment now. Let's go to the instructions. So create a variable with today's date. So I'm going to delete what I have here, and I'm going to type out print. Okay, and nope, sorry, not print. We want a variable here. So today's underscore date equals, and in quotation marks, I'll put in the date. So today, what is today? Today is April 26, 2020. Okay, if I click run, there it is. We see the next button is enabled. But if you're skeptical like me, go ahead and print it out. That's not going to stop you. It's not an error message. So let's go ahead and print out today's date. So we'll type it in again, or you could do a copy and paste. Today's date. Let's click run. And there it is in the result window. So if that's a little bit small for you to see on my screen, I'm going to copy and paste that over here. So we took today's date. It's a string. It's in quotation marks. We're putting it in this variable, which is a bucket, and then we're printing it out. And we're doing more than what the instructions are requiring. That's not a problem. As long as you did that very first step of declaring a variable, you're fine, and the next button should be enabled. Okay, now doing arithmetic, which we will look at the next video. Let me stop right now.